Get ready, guys. 10 seconds to go. 5. By doing that, the employees in the banking concerns as well as the employees in other government departments will be benefited to a large extent, and the government are not going to lose anything at present. They will have to pay either in the form of basic pay or basic pay plus dearness allowance, the same amount, but certain benefits that will accrue will be denied. Mr. Justice Desai, in his report, has stated clearly that a rise in prices will have a greater adverse effect on the lower income groups working in the banks as well as in other government departments. That is why he has evolved a formula that for a particular class of employees, bank employees, a certain proportion or ratio should be calculated in arriving at the dearness allowance. For the category of clerical staff, 1/7 of the basic pay of the bank employees will be raised in the dearness allowance for a rise of every 10 points in the cost of living. What I would like to impress on the government is that the bulk of the employees are there, and the cost of living will have great adverse effects on this large chunk of bank employees. This 1/7 that has been allowed under this formula will not be sufficient to neutralize the rise in prices of necessary articles. This question of amending this particular section is there, that every rise or fall of 10 points in the cost of living should within 3 months or quarterly allow the bank or the bank employees to get either a rise or fall in the dearness allowance calculated on the basic pay sanctioned. I therefore urge, sir, that instead of 1/7, 1/5 of the rise should be allowed. If that is done, a large section of the bank employees who are getting less than the minimum wage will be benefited. For the second category of the employees, the subordinate staff, 1/10 of the rise is allowed. Even here, I would urge that it should be increased to 1/7 so that the high cost of living that is going on today will be offset by the rise in dearness allowance that has been suggested by me. Another point to be taken into consideration is this: the All India Cost of Living Index is not so perfect and is not so reliable as has been pointed out by the previous speakers. On another occasion, the statistical figures that have been supplied to us have been questioned. Many a time, this cost of living index that has been shown in the government register does not really reflect the actual cost of living that is obtaining in particular areas. Many a time, the cost of living is calculated on the basis of wholesale figures. I would therefore urge that the Labour Ministry should interest itself in calculating this cost of living index on a more reasonable and realistic basis. Many a time, this all India cost of living index is deceptive.